Most operators think they have a vetting process. They don't. They have a checklist. A checklist is what fraudsters study before they target your fleet. But a real vetting process is what actually stops them. In the next 15 minutes, I'm going to break down the exact system that we use to catch fraudsters before they get to our fleet. The red flags almost no one knows about, and the one part of our process that filters 95% of bad renters before they even finish booking. If you're running a fleet right now, especially anything in the exotic or luxury space, and you've been up at night wondering if that guy who's renting your $200,000 car is actually who he says he is, watch this all the way through. This is the playbook. Your gut feeling is not your vetting process. Let me start with the part that most operators get completely wrong. When I talk to fleet owners, a lot of them tell me the same thing, and that's, I have a good eye, I know when something's off. And believe it or not, I actually used to say the same thing. Then I learned the hard way that a professional fraudster is better at being normal than you are at spotting something weird. The guy who's trying to rent your Lamborghini, wearing a hoodie, trying to pay with a prepaid card is not the guy you need to worry about. Your human instincts will catch that guy every time. The guy that you need to worry about shows up in a button down, pulls up in an already nice car, has some sort of verified LinkedIn or something of the like, and maybe even pays with something like an Amex Platinum. He looks more legitimate than your actual customers. And that's the entire point of their operation. Real vetting is not just about reading vibes. It's about running a system that doesn't care how the renter feels. The system either passes them or it doesn't. Your gut gets a vote, but it doesn't get a veto. That is the mindset shift. Once you make it, everything else in this video is going to make sense for you. Before we get deeper, let me give you context on why I'm the one that's talking about this topic. I've operated a rental fleet for over 8 years in the exotic and luxury space. I have managed upwards of 60 vehicles at one time. I've managed that in person, and I've also managed it remotely with an on-the-ground team that's doing all of the grunt work, while I take care of all of the administrative work and the vetting processes. Now, over that time, we have processed upwards of 10,000 bookings. We have been targeted by fraudsters at least once a month throughout the whole 8-year period, if not more often than that. Some months, 4, 5, 6 times. And we have lost 4 cars to fraud. But since building the system and implementing this vetting process, we have lost none. And beyond my own fleet, I've worked with over 20 active operators across the country who also run their own fleets. And of those operators, who most of them we took a deep dive in their system, have had a lot of issues with fake fraudulent attempts, and not all of them were always super clear. Now, a lot of these operators are very, very new, and they actually had never had one of their cars stolen just yet, but they've been close just a few times when I've taken them from the transition from Turo to private. But by using the systems that I taught them, we've caught these fraudulent attempts every single time. I'm not telling you any of this to brag. I'm telling you because the next 12 minutes are gonna feel real uncomfortable if you're currently running a fleet without these systems. So I want you to know the systems are not theoretical. It's been tested against actual professional fraud rings on actual 6-figure plus cars in actual operating conditions. Now let's get into it. Here are the fake ID red flags that almost nobody knows about. Most operators look at a driver's license and check 3 things. Does the photo match the face? Is the address roughly believable? Does the issue and expiration date check out? That's not vetting an ID, that's glancing at it. Here is what we actually look at. And I want you to write this down because this alone is worth the whole video. The first red flag is gonna be the microprint. Every legitimate state driver's license is going to have micro print built into it. It's usually around the photo, something like the state seal or the signature line. To the naked eye, it looks like a thin line or decorative pattern. Under a magnifying glass or a phone camera zoomed in maximum as clear as you can get it, it's actually a tiny readable text repeating the state name, the DMV, or a state motto. Counterfeits skip this almost every single time because the printers that are used to forge these kind of IDs just cannot replicate it. If the line, once you really zoom in, is just a blurry line, it's a fake ID. Red flag number 2 is the laser engraving on modern licenses. Most US states moved to laser engraved licenses within the last couple of years. The data is etched into the polycarbonate. It's not printed on top. If you tilt the ID against the light, the text should have a slightly raised or recessed feel, and the photo should have a very subtle 3D depth to it. A flat, fully printed look on a license that was printed after the year which this was implemented in your state is fake. Red flag number 3 is going to be the barcode mismatch. This one is going to catch more fakes than every other check combined. Every driver's license in the US has a PDF 147 barcode that's printed on the back of the license. That contains the same information that's printed on the front of the ID. We scan that barcode using something like insureverify.ai, where we can just submit a photo, or something like Stripe identity verification, and compare it line by line to see what's printed and to see if it passes their checks as well. Counterfeits can easily fake the front of an ID, but faking the barcode is very, very hard. Almost none of them get the barcode correct. The name will be slightly different, the date of birth will be off, the address will be an old version of a template that they purchased online. You can also buy physical ID scanners if you want to scan them in person with devices from places like Unitech or ID Visor Smart. Red flag number 4 is going to be the photo lighting. This one might sound dumb until you actually see it. Real DMV photos are taken in standardized lighting with a neutral background. Fake IDs almost always have a photo with a shadow in the wrong place, a slightly off-color background, or a face that's too sharp compared to the rest of the print quality on the ID card. Once you've seen 50, 100 or more licenses side by side, the fake ones jump out instantly. Red flag number 5 is going to be the cross-check between secondary ID. Consider not just accepting just a driver's license. Have every renter present a second form of government ID, whether that's a passport, state ID, military ID. The names, date of birth, and middle initials need to match exactly across both forms of ID. A fraudster might have one good fake. Almost none of them have 2 perfectly synced fake IDs. Now that's the ID layer. If the renter clears all 5, they move to the next stage. If they fail just one, the booking is dead. We don't argue, we don't ask follow-up questions, we release the hold and move on. This part is the insurance policy trick that exposes identity theft in 30 seconds. This one almost no operator does, and it actually catches more fraud than the ID check. When a renter sends in a declaration page for their insurance policy, a lot of operators just look at it and they move on. We do something different. We actually take a look at the policy effective date. If the policy was freshly issued within the last 14 to 30 days, we treat that as a major red flag. It's not an automatic rejection, but it's a flag that triggers the next layer of verification. And here's why. Identity thieves frequently purchase fake identities online and then use those fake identities to buy new auto insurances online as well. And sometimes within just hours of stealing the data. They need a valid insurance policy to rent your car. So they spin one up using the stolen identity, they pay with it with a stolen credit card online, and then use that policy to book your car. A real customer who's been driving the same car for 3 years is gonna have a policy that's at least been through 1 renewal cycle. A fraudster is gonna have a policy that was issued last Tuesday. It's not the only signal that we look at, but combined with the ID verification that we do as well, the new insurance policy red flag has literally caught at least 50 attempted fraudulent rentals within our fleet. The other piece on the insurance side is verifying that the auto insurance policy actually exists. We call the number of the insurance company directly from their website. We do not take the number that's on the declaration page provided by the renter or their insurance ID card, because declaration pages and ID cards can be made fake very, very well with the company logo, a 1-800 number, but you could actually be calling part of the fraud ring. So we do a quick phone call. It confirms that the policy is active, matches the renter's name, and that combined with the history of how long the policy has been active, in addition to the ID verification, catches a huge percentage of attempted fraud on our business. And here is why the security deposit is actually a huge risk filter. This is the part of the system that I want you to internalize the most, because it's going to change how you think about your entire business. The security deposit is not just a financial filter, it's a psychological filter. And here's what I mean. Real customers have no problem with a security deposit. They might not love it, but they do understand it. They have the funds for it and they know they're gonna get that money back. They might ask 1 or 2 questions and they'll pay it. Fraudsters cannot pay a real security deposit because they're fraudsters and they don't have the means to pay it the way they're supposed to be paid because they're using stolen credit cards, stolen identities, or one-time preloaded Visa gift cards or preloaded debit cards that cover just enough for the daily rate and look somewhat legitimate. A meaningful security deposit blows the entire economics of their operation. So they do one of 3 things, and all 3 of them are red flags. The first one is they're gonna try to negotiate the deposit aggressively. Can you just take half of that? Can you waive the security deposit? The other rental companies aren't charging this, but real customers aren't going to continuously fight the deposit. They might ask about it, but they will not try to get it waived or negotiate it down. Number 2, they try to split the deposit across multiple payment methods. Something like, can I put $500 on this card and $500 on this other card? It's almost always a sign that they're working across multiple stolen cards or multiple prepaid cards. And the third one is that they ghost you. The booking goes silent the moment that we tell them there's gonna be a deposit security hold. We've had renters complete the entire ID and insurance verification process only to ghost us when it comes time for the security deposit. They were planning to either dispute the charge later or use a stolen card that wouldn't authorize for that amount. For our fleet, the deposit usually ranges from $1,000 to $2,500 depending on the type of vehicle that they're renting. That's obviously for exotic and luxury cars, not economy cars. And that filters out 90% of bad fraudulent renters. And that is before we even have to run them through our verification system. The deposit is the cheapest and most powerful method of fraud prevention when it comes to the rental business. Every operator who doesn't take a security deposit are operators who've either had their cars stolen or they're going to have them stolen. And here's a quick note before we keep going. If you're already taking notes on this, you're the kind of operator that I work with on a regular basis. We run a small number of one-on-one calls with operators who are looking to tighten up their processes from end to end. That's vetting, fleet management, scaling, literally all of it. The first link in the description goes straight to the booking page. Take a look at it after this video if you feel it's relevant. If not, no worries. Let's keep going because the next 2 sections are sections that most operators have never even thought about. One of those things are the behavioral red flags during the booking conversation. Beyond documentation, the way someone actually communicates with you during the booking process is going to tell you a lot. Real customers are going to ask questions about the cars, mileage limits, that sort of thing, while the fraudsters are going to be asking questions about the process. Real customers want to know the mileage limits, whether they can travel out of state, what the refueling policy is, where they can pick up, drop off the car, are there any delivery options available? A fraudster is going to want to know what IDs you accept, whether you do credit or background checks, if you're going to call insurance to verify, and how does the security deposit work. You've definitely seen this if you've taken any bookings for any amount of time. The questions just feel slightly off. They're asking about the verification systems instead of the details about the rental itself. And that is because they're trying to find a gap in your process. Some other behavioral red flags that we track are things like communication at unusual hours. If it's someone that tried to call you at 2, 3, 4 in the morning, 11 p.m. at night, multiple changes to booking details before they want to pick up the car, a request to pick the car up at a different location than where you told them pickup was, even when they're not opting for delivery, especially somewhere that's sketchy or with limited camera coverage, renters who refuse a video call during verification, or a renter who suddenly presses you to skip a part of your process because they got to catch a flight or go to a meeting or something like that. Now, of course, none of these are actual disqualifications, but they are red flags if anything. But combine that with any failures across ID or insurance verification, and that's a hard rejection. Most recently, I had an inquiry about a Lamborghini Huracan that I was actually gonna bring to my new town. We ended up bringing the Audi R8. This inquiry happened to come from TikTok, out of all places. So when the renter contacted me, everything kind of checked out. He had license, he had the proof of insurance, he was of age. As soon as I told him that he had to put a $2,000 refundable security deposit on a credit card, he countered me. Oh, well, can I pay it cash? Can I pay it on a debit card? I said, no, you need to pay this on a credit card in your name that you can present in person with a matching ID. Well, when I took a look at the ID and I did a Google search on the name, it turns out that this individual had actually been incarcerated before for vehicle theft. So that was a real big win that we took, and just one of many examples that we've come across in the business. It doesn't matter where the lead is coming from, TikTok, Instagram, again, social media, Google, it does not matter. You need to follow these processes for every single rental. Now, if you want to take an advanced step and you're willing to pay for these kinds of verifications, there's plenty of great softwares that you can use. If you're using softwares like Wheelbase, there are forms of identity and insurance verification to an extent. Within those types of softwares, there's also one called insureverify.ai. They can do background checks, ID checks, insurance verifications. There's also Stripe Identity Check, Canopy Connect. So using those in conjunction with your own processes is going to yield you the best result. So here's the full vetting flow step by step. To put it all together, here's the order that we run every single booking through. You can copy this directly. Step 1, do a driver's license check. All of the 5 red flags from earlier, if the ID fails any one of those, the booking is to be rejected and you move on. Step 2 is secondary ID cross checks. That's names, date of birth, and middle initial matching across both forms of the government issued ID. If there's a mismatch, booking gets rejected. Step 3 is the insurance declaration page review. Check the policy effective date. If it's been issued within the last 14 to 30 days, flag it for additional verification. Always verify the policy by calling the provider yourself from their actual website that you found on Google, not from a number that's on the document. Step number 4 is behavioral review from the conversation during booking. Look for a pattern from part 5 and score it. Step 5 is the security deposit hold. Real card, real authorization that they can present in person with a matching government issued ID. If it fails, decline the booking. Step number 6 is the day of pickup. How does the ID look compared to the person in front of you? Make sure they do a live video or some sort of live verification if the pickup is remote. If anything at all looks different from the booking, the rental is not happening. 6 steps, roughly 15 to 20 minutes worth of work per booking, but can save you an entire stolen car. That's the easiest math in the entire business. And again, there are other insurance verification softwares out there that you can use in combination with these processes, such as insureverify.ai. They do biometrics verification, ID verification, background checks, insurance verification, and all the sorts, but you should still use your own vetting processes in combination with these kinds of softwares. So that's the system. 5 layers of ID verification, insurance policy date check and direct carrier call, behavioral red flags during booking conversation, security deposit as the financial and psychological filter, and day of pickup live verification. Run every single booking through it, reject anything that fails. Do not argue with renters who are pushing back. Don't make any exceptions just for good vibes. Don't waive the deposits for anyone ever, no matter how legit they look. The operators who lose cars to fraud almost always lose them the same way. They had a system, they made exceptions, and those exceptions are the fraudsters. If you're running a fleet right now and you want to scale it, or you're just getting started, click the first link in the description to book a strategy call. We'll map out your specific starter vehicles, your market, and your first 60-day scale plan. I only take a limited number of these calls and I keep my student circle small because this is a true one-on-one mentorship. Click the first link in the description and book the call. Spots fill up fast every month. So if this is something you actually want to do, check it out right now. And if that's not for you, take everything in this video, run with it, and you'll be ahead of 95% of operators who take bookings on good vibes. Thanks again for watching. Please don't forget to check out the rest of the videos on my channel. And also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. And I'll see you in the next video.